Hey guys, quick question. What do you do with your money every single time you get paid? Do you have a routine or a system put in place that you go through with your paycheck? Just take your time and sit and think about it. Now, in all honesty, all of us have routines on how we handle day-to-day life. We have a planner set in place what we're going to do that morning, all the way until that night. Things like lunch, movies, the gym, or whatever you could think about. But there's one key thing that everyone tends to not have in place, and that's the management of money, or what you do with that money as soon as you get paid. Now, in this video, I'm going to give you 4 things that are very beneficial. Now, the very last one is the best one that I would agree we all would like to do. So I really would love for you to stick around for that one. Now, let's be honest with ourselves. We all need to stop living paycheck to paycheck. I'm not going to lie to you. My goal is to be totally transparent with you and tell you that you can follow the things that I give you on this video, but it won't stop you from living paycheck to paycheck. In order to do that, you have to be disciplined and with consistency over the course, or even a long period of time, to actually get out of the routine of just living paycheck to paycheck. Now, in all truth, there are people who make a great amount of money, $1,000 to be exact, that are still living paycheck to paycheck. And according to a CNBC study, around 58% of all Americans are still living paycheck to paycheck. And according to PR Newswire, 69% of Americans in urban areas are living paycheck to paycheck. And the only explanation for this is the fact that people do not have systems and routines in place for their money. So with all that being said, let's get into the video. So the very first thing I always do before the money even touches my account, well before 30 days, is write a budget. And for me, myself, I already have a budget written and set in place to make sure I'm aware of where every single dollar is spent before it is spent. I do this because I want to make sure all of the money that I receive is already spent on paper first. Let's keep a note of that. We don't get the money until it's spent on paper first. And also, I'm well aware of how much money I start off with, to the point of where I should be at by the time I end the month. By doing this, it gives me a sense of relief and comfort to know how much money I'm expecting to finish the month off with. Let's just take a second and think about it like this. Before a builder builds a house, before someone starts a business, there's always a blueprint written out or a plan set in place. The same way this is done is the same way you as a person should treat your paycheck. Have a blueprint for your paycheck, and then also 3 ways to budget. The zero-based budget, this is where all the expenses must be justified for each new period. There's also the 50-30-20, where 50% goes to needs, 30% goes to wants, and 20 goes to savings. And the last one is the 80-20 budget, where 80% goes to living expenses and 20% goes to financial goals. Now for me, I use the zero-based budget because that has worked for me in the past and has saved me thousands of dollars. But just because it worked for me may not mean it could work for you. I say this because you want to choose with the right budget rule that will work best for you. But even before doing this, just know you have to have a plan for your money. That's the only way it's going to work. The next thing that I do is take care of me and my family's needs. Now for the needs, they are not the same things as wants. Most people tend to get both of these confused. Here's a quick definition for needs. A needs is something that is needed to survive a good. Example of this is food for your house or car, shoes, and the list goes on. A want, on the other hand, is an individual desire, but you can live without. Good example for this is designer items or tickets to a must-see concert and so on. A way how people tend to get this mixed up is instead of wanting the off-brand things, you just have to have the finer things. But ask yourself this question: who are you impressing? Because at the end of the day, no one cares. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's the truth. But it may look nice for the time being, but after a while, that glitter fades, and that want can potentially turn out to be a waste of money. Guys, we need to avoid this mistake, and the way to do this is delaying gratification, and we need to first take care of what we actually need with our paycheck. So pay your needs first, and then we can talk about your wants if you have enough left over. Have you ever taken time to consider this? And most people tend to not do it. Let's just be clear. There needs to be savings plans with money. Now, most people like to do separate savings plans, like an emergency fund, a fund when something depreciates, or whatever. But hear me out. In all honesty, thinking about it in this matter, having that mindset at the beginning of your savings journey will do nothing but stress you out and also overwhelm you. So what I normally do and suggest is set up on a centralized savings plan with your money. Or in other words, save all your money in one savings account, at least until you get the grasp of how to save money first. But by doing this, it ensures that you at least have some sort of savings plan set up. And then you know where all the money that you will need for whatever will be there in case of anything. Instead of just having your head spinning in circles about what money will I put here or there, centralize it. And from then on, you can determine how much you're going to use for what? Then once you get a system set of how you save after a few months, then gradually throw it in an emergency fund or gradually throw it into the depreciation fund. And the money that's already in savings, you can just move a bit over to the other savings and build on from there. That's what I would at least do. It's less overwhelming and less stressful. A good way that I normally save is by the end of the month, after I made all my expenses for the month, whatever I have left over from all of my paychecks from the 4 weeks of the month, I'll take half of that and add it into savings. So just say for instance, I save $500 at the end of the month. In that case, I'll take out $250 and add that into my savings accounts. Now if that does sound a little tough, let's just try to do it weekly. Let's try to save $25 a week. That should at least help out to start off with. You starting small and then working your way up. Then also keep in mind, people, it doesn't have to be that much. As long as you're saving something is all that matters. You have to train your mind to get into the savings mindset and start small and work your way up. The last thing that you need to do, and please hear me out when I say this, is pay yourself first. Now paying yourself first means to do exactly just that, paying you. Let's just take a second to think about it. Most of us get into the month having paid all of our bills or maybe still paying, and if you're doing it on a weekly basis, the one thing that has you stressed out is needing to pay the phone bill, needing to pay the mortgage, or needing to pay the rent, or needing to pay this, or needing to pay that, and so on. And all of a sudden you realize you're earning money just to dish it out and you're missing out on paying yourself. And at the end of the day, you come to the conclusion that all you're doing is working to pay bills and you don't deserve that. You got to first figure out a way how to flip that around. And the way how to do that is taking care of yourself first. Now working a job, this money is already taken out before I see it to my job's insurance or 401k. So this money is already contributed automatically. It comes out before I even see it. I do this to take care of myself and my family down the road. But aside from work, another thing I do is set an amount in my personal funds of how much I plan to take out each paycheck to take care of myself personally. For me, I usually account for 5 or 10% at least each paycheck. And I know for a fact with this 5 or 10%, I can take care of something that I would want, for something fun, or find a way to invest in my future by way of taking a course. Because at the end of the day, I want to figure out a way to increase my income to where it work for me instead of doing the opposite. This may not be the thing that you would like to do, and that's okay. The approach you should use for paying yourself is using the 3 F's. For example, I pay myself for fun, I pay myself for fulfillment, and I pay myself for the future. There was an example I named out for the future earlier. Keep those things in mind if you ever feel guilty on spending on yourself. Most important, the amount that you pay yourself should be included on your budget sheet. And if you feel the need to adjust this, feel free. Just make sure there's enough to allocate for your bills, and I can assure you, it'll be okay. Well, there you have it. These are the things that I'll do once I get my paycheck. Some of these ways will work for you and some of them may not. But with taking these steps, it can help you grow closer to build on better money habits. Now, if this video was helpful and you enjoyed it, please be sure to show me some love by hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Until the next video, I'm out.